What's up? It's 3 in the morning. Lake Charles. Bear with me, this is gonna be really loud. Sorry about that. I'm going for a little drive to where the church, the Scientology, moved a mission to. When I moved back, I was here within 6 months. Kay McConnell, or Mary McConnell, I can't remember. Maybe you can check it out, Kaiva. Started a mission here. She was a missionary that Kathy Steiner got to open a mission in Lafayette in the 90s, late 90s, 2000, something along those lines. It's very well, it's abnormal to be driving around at this hour in the city that I live in. My dad used to say, hey, nothing good happens after midnight. And he's pretty well right about that. But if you've lived in a city, you can drive any damn time you want to. No one gives you any weird looks or anything. And no one looks at people on the side of the road that are walking like they're freaks. You just never know what someone's going through. That was one thing that I did like about LA besides the food is well, it's a double-edged sword. People didn't care what people didn't I don't know if it was that people didn't judge you or that they just didn't care. Maybe a little both. Had the greatest day and I went home to go to sleep. Woke up from a really weird dream where I was playing a show with my cousin Jesse, who's in Orange County right now. Very talented singer, songwriter, wise beyond her years. And there was this sound guy in my dream that was, God, he was horrific. And that's what woke me up. It was like a nightmare. I was like, oh my God, I gotta deal with this kind of a sound guy. So I've been a sound guy for a long time, and I know a good one when I see one, and I know a bad one when I see one. And this guy was not a very good sound guy. But anyways, getting close now to where the mission was. Kathy was trying to get me recovered. Oh, this is a one-way. I'm going to have to go around the block. Kathy Steiner was trying to recover me for anything. A mission, working on staff at Narconon. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, I gotta go around. Working on staff as a purification IC or a counselor, a drug counselor, entrance counseling at Narconon in Baton Rouge. They no longer own missions, by the way. They mysteriously stopped their involvement with missions not long after I left staff. So they kind of went behind the scenes with the pseudo Scientology, but they weren't giving it away that it was Scientology. In other words, Narconon. So this is where the Church of Scientology in Lake Charles, Louisiana was. This was it. They had a purif in there, they had a course room, they had everything that a mission is supposed to have, because you cannot open a mission without this extensive, checklist, and also, let's not forget, all of the materials. Multiple copies of. It's a huge sale. It's just sales. So it's right next to the post office, which was great for their BMO, I suppose. If you don't know what that is, that's bulk mail officer. Said it's 3 in the morning. If I stick around here, there'll be a cop drive by and want to know, what are you doing here? Because nothing good happens after midnight. McConnell, I believe, was the last name of the lady and gentleman who had the Lafayette mission and Lake Charles mission. I have no idea if they're still involved in Scientology. Mr. McConnell was a very successful construction contractor in Louisiana. And when I met him at the mission in 2006, after Hurricane Rita, that's when they bought the building. He seemed quite stressed out about the money and the tithes. Of course, it was all for the greatest good, for the greatest number, is what I remember hearing. So he was justifying it. So listen, this is what I'm wanting to do, and I'll make another video just to post on Patreon, I guess. There's a building that I have access to that I showed you last week. And it's been donated for the purposes of recreating life on staff. And it's on our street that is just really long street. Looks pretty metropolitan. It's been updated. And I'm gonna park over here by my buddy's taco stand. The guy I went to high school with. Actually, Travis, my brother, he went to school with him. I just met him through Travis. Brett Starnes has Travis, you watch all my videos, but this is Brett's place. Sloppy's downtown. I'm so proud of him. So what my plan and goal is to recreate and to show what it is like on staff. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen a true depiction of staff. Now, closest thing, Louis Theroux's My Scientology movie, when they're doing the TRs and they're doing musical chairs, and the guy that they cast as Miscavige, that, what they call in Scientology a beingness, that beingness that guy had, was replicated in executives all over the world. Everyone assumed that beingness that was on purpose. And I don't mean on purpose like you did that on purpose. On purpose in Scientology means you are down with the program. You are in it to win it. You are clearing the planet. You are trying to suck the in theta out of the world and push the theta in. Get ethics in. Third and fourth dynamic activities. All the time. So, I haven't seen it. And let me tell you that if you see it, or at least this is what I believe and what I feel, maybe this is just something that I want to see. It might be cathartic for me. I don't know. But something in my gut tells me that if people see what it's actually like to be on staff, where I was at least, there were missions that were pretty lax. Like, I can understand actually people being a little skeptical of the conditions that I describe on a mission staff, because there's a lot of missions that were ho-hum Scientology missions, okay? Namby-pamby, panty-waist dilettante missions, you know, KSW. We were held to a higher standard. I talked to an ex-Scientologist. Well, no, she's just an inactive Scientologist. Can't mention her name. Her father's in the Sea Org. And I disconnected from her tonight because of that. I don't want her to... I didn't know she was still a Scientologist. But here's the funny thing. She didn't know that I was a Scientologist. And this was a girl that was in one of these celebrity networks that I was, as an FSM, given carte blanche to hang out with. When I say carte blanche, I mean as long as I was there to promote Scientology and get people into Scientology in that network of friends, of people, it was okay that I go to parties. It was okay that I set up gigs. And I was supervised and questioned and constantly, well, what exactly is happening and where exactly is this going to be and what time are you going to be there and what time will you be back, and let me get a list of names of potential FSM, potential people that we can get in, and let's get their numbers and let's get all this stuff. So when she said, I didn't know you were a Scientologist, it kind of blew my mind a little bit, because her boyfriend was a Scientologist. Her boyfriend come and played the open mic nights. She'd come to the open mic nights and I was there. I played the open mic nights, but it occurred to me that there might be a lot of people who didn't even know that I was a Scientologist in these networks that I was part of, and that was probably the idea. This was a pet project of CC Int by way of Rachel Miner, who had been conned into it by Kathy Steiner, Who their connection, who the hell knows? I don't know how they got hooked up. I don't know how Kathy met Rachel, because Kathy was never on lines, as far as I know, at CC or Tom. More than likely, the DSA at CCN was in comm talking to missionaries, and CCN realized that with the anonymous hacks and the things that were stolen in the OT materials that have been recently published on sites like Operation Clambake and whatever other sites, they wanted to get the public inside the church so that it's a bubble. You know, Chris Shelton talks about this a lot, having been a Sea Org terminal that was damage control. You know, he remembers and talks about times when Scientology was under heavy scrutiny, and during those times, recovery is a constant, and everyone's working on recovery, because you want anyone who's had exposure to Scientology inside while the controversy's going on. Afterwards, not so much of a big deal. When things cool down, people can be, you know, freelance, public, indie Scientologists, and whatever. But you didn't, at that time, you know, the internet was still relatively new. It wasn't new, but it was worth their time and effort to get people back in and on services, on lines, to prevent blows, to protect your GI, gross income, and to keep the field active.